what I wanted to share for a few moments was something that's a free resource that's available through the North American Mission Board. And if you haven't seen this already, what this is called is a NAMB Evangelism Kit. Now, I know we can look at that and say, well, great, that's all I need is one more thing to try to learn. Well, the way this was explained to me, and from what I'm able to tell so far from looking at it, this is not some new plan or new way to share the gospel. We've got many ways that we've all learned and we can learn to share the gospel. It's not a new program like Who's Your One that they want you to do, once or twice a year. Really, this kit was designed to simply help you as the pastor, to help you as leaders in the church, to assess the current culture of evangelism there in your congregation, and to assess the health of it, its vitality, and also to make a plan going forward about how you can do better or enhance or maybe even begin to develop and create a culture of evangelism among your people in your church. So what I want to do in this quick video is kind of go through this box real quick. And like I said, you can order this from free through NAMB's website. You get one box per church. But I want to go real quick through this box and show you what you're going to get and how you can use it. So let's go. So here is our NAMB Evangelism Kit on the inside when you open it up. There's several things you're going to find in here, and we'll take a look at these real quick. Number one is you'll find a set of prayer cards. These have a scripture verse on one side and a call to action on the other. So these will be really handy to keep around and keep available to remind yourself to be praying over evangelism, not only in your own personal life, but also in the life of your church each day. It also has a keychain. It says on here, as you go, which reminds us also of the Great Commission. And then one of the most important things you'll find in this box is a small thumb drive. This thumb drive has really everything you need in order to study this evangelism kit and look over it yourself, as well as lead a couple key staff or leaders in your church through it. Now, one other thing that you'll find in this kit, if you don't have one of these already, this is a real handy item. This is a North American Mission Board Evangelism Resource Guide, and this is pretty much everything that you'll find available on the internet that you can download or order from NAMB. So it gives you a resource guide, or I guess we call it a catalog, in there as well. Now, really the heart of this evangelism kit is this training guide here. Now, this training guide, what's it going to do for you? Well, this is what you're going to work through. You can either do this alone. You can do it ideally with some other leaders in your church to get the most out of this kit. Now, I also have a PDF here at the office of a guide that is contextualized for women and women's ministry. And there's also in August they're coming out with a next gen guide as well for student ministry. This guide is divided into 4 sections. The first one is examine. Now, what this section is going to do is going to walk you through a personal assessment of your own life as well as the life of your church. It's going to ask you questions about your spiritual health, about the current level of evangelistic engagement in your church now. So this is really where it starts. It starts at our own personal evangelism philosophy or outlook, as well as understanding how engaged is our current church in evangelism at the moment. So the first of the steps through this is called examine. The second one is called embrace. And what this does is this helps you understand and explore your community. And what this is it's really similar to how a missionary somewhere in the States or around the world would act in the field or on the field. It helps you develop a plan to prepare your church for evangelistic engagement. So it's almost like exegeting your community through that embrace section. Now, there are resources available here if you don't know about them, and I'll try to remember to put these links below. If you go to namb.net and search for demographics request, they will provide you a free report on your community of the demographics within, I think, like a 20-minute drive around your church. So this section embrace just helps you understand how to explore your community, learn more about it, and find out the best ways you can find to reach them. And that takes us to the third one there, engage. This part focuses on the intentional prayer for the lost. It gives you some very practical ideas for sharing the gospel, as well as steps to create a follow-up plan, right? It's great to go out and to share the gospel, to have an outreach program, but do you have a way to follow up with those who make decisions or those that you want to follow up with later? This engage section will help you do that, about intentionally helping you, yourself, and the church pray for the lost and ideas on sharing the gospel. Lastly, we have encourage, and this is probably the one that we would forget about the most, but it's probably one of the key in all these things that was discussed in this kit. We need to learn to celebrate when people have gospel conversations, and especially celebrate when we hear of those who have made a profession of faith. This guide and the videos on there will give you some ways to celebrate as you're building this evangelistic culture in your church. And I saw one, for example, was really neat. It was every week the pastor would stand up there, and there was a clear glass container that had different colored, like ping pong balls in it. And each week the congregation would report on if they had a gospel conversation with someone, if they just shared their story with someone, or if someone gave their life to Christ. And each of those would represent a different colored ball. And each week the pastor would stand there in front of the congregation and give a report and show people visually, here are the contacts that were made this week. So the whole idea behind that is to celebrate what your church is doing, because we all know this, right? Whatever gets the most attention, whatever is celebrated the most is what's going to get the focus. So I think it's about time as pastors and as churches that we start celebrating evangelism. We start celebrating folks when they have a gospel conversation. This is a free kit. It's really not a program. It's really just a way for you to sit down to think about what you're currently doing and how your church is currently doing with regards to disciple making. And if nothing else, give yourself a clearer and a more strategic plan to reach your community for the gospel. If you got any questions about this, I'll be glad to try to help you. Go to the NAMB.net and you can find all the information you need about this. Pastors, I love you and I thank you for all you do. Leaders in the church, we appreciate everything you do for your church and for your staff. And if you got any questions, feel free to give me a call. You guys have a great day, and God bless.